My name is Richard Weiss. I'm a piano teacher and a concert pianist. I've recorded several pieces for social media, and they're not quite ready yet, but they'll be up very soon. I wanted to make 3 big points today. The first one is probably the most important, and that is, why don't kids have fun playing the piano? I mean, I was one of 6, and, sometimes we had to be dragged, kicking and screaming. So I think kids have got to have fun playing the piano. And if you think of some of the other things that kids do, let's say the kid on the basketball team swishes a 3-pointer from behind the line. Oh, he's so excited, and everyone's excited in the audience. But let's say a soccer player nails a soccer ball into the goal. Fantastic, right? Okay. How do we translate that excitement and that desire to be doing that activity into music? The first thing, I think, you've got to ask the student what they want to play. In other words, what composers or what artists they want to play. And it can be anybody. There's a whole pantheon of artists, say, from Taylor Swift to Lady Gaga, Billy Joel, Elton John, jazz with Oscar Peterson, Keith Jarrett, R&B, hip-hop, and of course, classical. And I've heard and read comments by every one of those stars, and they all said, oh, by the way, I forgot the Beatles and Paul McCartney because he is so important. They all say they started with classical piano, all of them, and then went on to guitar and singing and so on. Well, why classical piano? Why do we start with that? Because it puts your hand in the right position on the keyboard. It helps your fingers move very quickly without mistakes. It gives your wrists the right position. So that's really important. And then once you do that, again, you can choose whatever you want, and you'll feel so much pride when you learn a piece. And also when you get in front of an audience, you're going to have an auditorium filled with parents, and they're going to love what you do, and that's going to make you feel great also. It's all about a positive energy and having fun and feeling good. The second topic's a really tough thing to talk about. I'll start by saying, I know that you all get catalogs. I'm not the only one in the world whose mailbox is stuffed with catalogs. So I got a catalog about 2 months ago, but there was one thing that really caught my eye. It was a mirror. It was a mirror, a piece of wall art, and it had big treble clef on one side, and on the other, it had 5 of the most significant words I think I've ever heard about music. It said, when words fail, music speaks. Isn't that great? It leads me into what I was going to talk about with the 2020 horrific helicopter crash of Kobe Bryant and his daughter and her teammates. And he just was volunteering his time to go out there and coach. And what a nightmare. I mean, it ripped out everybody's heart. No one knew what to say. Talk about words failing. What do you say in a situation like that? Well, you don't say anything. You play. And what happened is that 3 or 4 days later, Alicia Keys got up in the Staples Center in L.A., and she played what she said was Vanessa and Kobe's favorite song which was the first movement of Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata. And you could hear a pin drop. You can hear a pin drop. And only music could speak like that, not words. I sustained a very personal loss of someone I love very much a few years ago, and I keep her right here on my heart every single day. But when I want to feel closer to her and a closer connection, I play one of our two songs that were ours that I sang. A lot of couples have songs that are theirs. And I go to the piano and I play I've Grown Accustomed to Her Face from My Fair Lady, and All I Ask of You from Phantom. And I feel like she's sitting right there. It's an incredible connection. And I could write pages and pages and pages of stuff. And it's not going to have the same effect. The last topic that I wanted to talk about was the expression, I know you've all heard this, music is a universal language. What on earth does that mean? I mean, I think we've all been hearing that since we've been in first grade. But music is a universal language. So I thought of two things. One a while ago and the other fairly recent. And again, words fail in these situations. There was an article about this poverty-stricken, completely worn down place in Africa. And these kids saw instruments and they saw, I guess, heard music, but they didn't have any money to buy instruments. So they bought their own, they made their own instruments. They used wire for the string instruments. They used pots and pans and garbage can covers for percussion. They used sections of pipe for the wind instruments. I felt very undeserving on that day, believe me. The last example of music being universal and how we need to look at that and let it help us in that way is that the Israeli Philharmonic was playing a concert conducted by Zubin Mehta, who was a New York Philharmonic conductor from 81 to 90. And, you know, if you've ever watched the young people's concerts or any concerts with the full orchestra, the camera pans over the various sections, brass, winds, and so on. And it sort of got to the last stand in the first violin section. And I looked at these two guys, and they were having a great time. I mean, they were having a great time, and it's the middle of the piece. They were relating to each other like they were best friends. They were reading off the same score. They were using the same stand. Guess what? One of them was Palestinian, and the other was Israeli. So they're 180 degrees, you have to assume, in terms of politics. But look how music brought them together. So it's a hopeful thing. Thank you very much.